Right, everybody, thank you for joining. I am extremely excited about this book, and it really helped me a lot understanding what artificial intelligence is about. There's so much written about it, and there's such a hype around uh, artificial intelligence. And I found Mustafa Suleyman very clear, anthropological and philosophical about technology, and a very, very important topic, I think, for us all. A fascinating, well-written, and important is the title. Now, let's kick off. What I have done, it's quite a substantial book to read, and it's not a type of book which you would read when you go to bed, probably. I've taken out small bits and pieces out of the book just to give you an idea of what this book is about, and maybe it will entice you to do more reading on this book. So usually I've got books I like to introduce to you. Two books, I think some of you will know that it is something I refer to. The one is Analog by Robert Hassan. A beautiful little book giving you the history of technology and yeah, all the constraints technology had through the years. And then the technology trap, uh, capital, labor, and power in the age of automation. It's just as an important one. And I read these three books together, and it gave me a very good indication of where we are in the world in terms of technology. Obvious, these things are changing so quickly. And very often you read something now and tomorrow it's totally obsolete. Now, let us look at the structure of the book, and probably you have done that. Um, he first starts with a part one, which he calls Homo Technologicus, um, and he talks about the containment problem. And the other day, I saw a beautiful little video clip. It was an advertisement of Mercedes Benz when a first Mercedes car entered a little village somewhere in Germany. The people ran back into their homes and even threw stones at the car. That is the type of reaction you could get. In the early stages of the Industrial Revolution, uh, people built factories in the UK, for instance, to improve manufacturing and at mills, etc. And the workforce was so furious about the possibility of losing their jobs that they burnt these factories down. Now, there's a whole lot of examples Mustafa gives you in terms of technology and the containment problem of technology. Obvious. When do people use technology? When they benefit thereof, when there is a value attached to it. Part two in the book is actually about the next wave. And there's four features of the coming wave, which I think I need to touch on. There's a lot of examples, political, social, business-wise. He gives you, and it's very, very practical to read. But I will refer in this part to the four features of the coming wave. Obviously, the coming wave is like a tsunami. It's an avalanche that's coming onto us because of its impact it has on social life, also on business. Part three, states of failure. It's more about the dilemma of countries, states having a problem with the technology and the paradox within the technology, constantly referring to the negative and the positive, the yin and the yang, is my words, it's not his, but he makes a lot about the paradox within the new technology, the good and the bad it can bring about. Part 4 is through the wave, 10 steps to containment, and I will end with that. Is suggestions from his side, what is required to put brakes on this development of artificial intelligence. So let's immediately kick off with the first part, Homo technologicus. Technology through the ages, he says, is difficult to contain. And then I refer to him, there are always good reasons to resist or curtail technology. AI, though, its history is one of enabling people to do more, increasing capabilities, driving improvements in well-being. It is not a one-sided story. Now, he hammers on this. He says you need to look at both sides. Technology creates more lethal and destructive weapons as well as better tools. Now, if you've recently listened to the speakers at the United Nations, and especially from the Ukraine, you will know that the latest weapons are really lethal. And yeah, that's in the basket. New technologies can be unsettling, he says, and destabilizing, alien and invasive. Technology causes problems and always has. I think this is a reality about Homo technologicus, that there will be problems, teething problems, sometimes less than other times. So the next wave, the machine is the departure point, machine learning. The AI spring, it calls it, deep learning comes of age, the importance of deep learning. And artificial intelligence, he says, is eating the world. as a great concern for Mustafa, that most people do not understand what is happening, and very soon the technology would be of nature that surpasses the capabilities of people, and that is a serious dilemma. Mass scale rollout is already on the way, he says. Software has eaten the world. Deep learning can detect cracks in water pipes, manage traffic flow, model fusion reactions for new source of clean energy, and aid the design of more sustainable and versatile building materials. And it gives a lot of examples, and it's really worthwhile reading. Now, the next wave continues. All AI driven by algorithms and neural networks, creating trillions of zettabytes in data. Now, 1 zettabyte is a trillion gigabytes, 10 to the power of 21. Now, this gives you a very good idea of really the number of data that is available. And for this data, obvious, we need quantum computers, and everyone is in the race to create these quantum computers. With AI, obvious, you could just go and read what Elon Musk is doing with Grok 5, what ChatGPT is doing with ChatGPT 6 coming along, etc. It's just rolling and keep on rolling. And where's the brakes? He wants to know. Where's the regulatory issues? And I've seen that at the United Nations, that they have pleaded that there should be a regulatory body of some kind to contain artificial intelligence. AI is far deeper and more powerful than just another technology. The risk isn't the overhyping the technology, it's rather in missing the magnitude of the coming wave. So it seems to me his biggest concern is this wave is so huge, and we in business and social communities, even politics, do not really understand what this is about. In a video I saw in YouTube, Suleyman talks about not technology anymore, but a new species that's going to assist you, a new agent that's going to support you in your business. So then the next wave, AI is the technology of life. Biotech is got a lot of examples on biotech. AI in the age of synthetic life, robotics, and there's 4 futures of the coming wave, which I quickly want to touch on. The first one is that this technology usually is asymmetric, has got an asymmetric impact. You don't need to hit like with like or mass with mass. He says instead, new technologies create previous unthinkable vulnerabilities and pressure points against seemingly dominant powers. Now, he discusses this issue. If you go back to the war in Ukraine, what they are doing with drones, the Russians cannot match at this stage because of the technology and the clever aspect of the drones. Secondly, they are developing fast a kind of hyper-evolution, iterating, improving, and branching into new areas at an incredible speed. Now, speed has always been the thing of technology. The reason why we do technology is to improve our timelines, the speed in which we create things. Thirdly, they are often omni-use. That is, they can be used for many different purposes. A benefit and also probably a negative to it. Fourth, they increasingly have a degree of autonomy beyond any previous technology. And that is the real problem about the technology and AI. What boundaries are we going to put in place for the AI autonomy that exists? States of failure, the future of nations, he talks about that a lot. Technology has already created modern empires of a sort. So it's not only about nations anymore, it's about technology giants, the big five, or big six, or whatever you want to call it. Surveillance is very important. He says it's a rocket fuel for authoritarianism. 500 million CCTV cameras in the world are in China, for instance. Very interesting discussion. If AI, biotech, quantum, robotics, and the rest of it are centralized in the hands of a repressive state, the resulting entity would be palpably different from any yet seen. And this is the whole debate. If these technologies come into the hands of repressive states, then there's a real problem. Right? And none of us can be sure how exactly all of this unfolds. The coming decades will see complex, painful trade-offs between prosperity, surveillance, and the threat of catastrophe growing ever more acute. Even a system of states in the best possible health would struggle. With the coming wave, we face the real threat, a cascade of potential disastrous consequences. Yet, even and centralized, let me just, if AI, biotech, quantum robotics, and the rest of it are centralized in the hands of repressive state, the resulting entity would probably be different from any yet seen. So he says none of us can be sure how exactly all of this unfold, and it's complex. So with the coming wave, we face a real threat, a cascade of potential disastrous consequences. Yes, even an existential risk to the species. Technology is the best and the worst of us. The only coherent approach to technology is to see both sides at the same time. And this is his understanding of artificial intelligence, but he also recognizes the fact that there's a lot of energy needed to get these things right. So he suggests 10 steps to containment, technical safety, concrete technical measures to alleviate possible harms and maintain control, audits, a means of ensuring the transparency and accountability of technology. It sounds very simple, but it's non-existent at this stage. Choke points, lever to slow down development and buy time for regulators and defensive technologies. Makers ensuring responsible developers build appropriate controls into technology from the start. Businesses aligning the incentives of organizations behind the technology with containment. Governments, supporting governments, allowing them to build technology and implementing mitigation measures. Alliances, creating a system of international cooperation to harmonize laws and programs. And then culture, a culture of sharing, learning, and failures to quickly disseminate means of addressing them. And then movements, all of this need public input at every level, including to put pressure on each component and make it accountable. He says the only way is the narrow way. Coherence, ensuring that each element works in harmony with the others, that containment is a virtuous cycle of mutual reinforced measures. And then he said, looking at the mirrored paths forward, all the possible directions where technology will take human experience, the capabilities unleashed, the capacity to transform our world, it seems containment fails in many of them. The narrow path must be walked forever here on out. And all it takes is one misstep to tumble into the abyss. It is quite a depressing sort of note that he gives us. Obvious, I think, worthwhile book to read. Hopefully you could put your hands on it and benefit thereof. Our next book would be The Hidden Potential, The Science of Achieving Greater Things, a new book by Adam Grant. He was the author of Think Again, which was a very good sort of book to read. And I end off with all of my sessions, we do not know what we will know. So, well, usually I will add, don't be arrogant about what you think you know. So thank you very much. I don't know if there's anybody who would like to ask a question or be part of the discussion. Izali, are you there?
I'm here. If anybody has a question about this topic, feel free to unmute and ask your question. My question when this topic comes up, Bernie, is always about safety in this this sphere, and yeah.
Yeah, he's got a huge section in the book discussing the problems around security, safety, and obvious surveillance that comes with it. You know, so the one thing I think we cannot get rid of is that we are going to have a big brother watching us, you know, wherever we go. But there's a large component of safety discussions in this book.
Mm. Let's see who's here, if we can. Oh, I see Walter is here.
Yeah.
Is there anybody who would like to ask? Anybody else who would like to ask a question? Everybody's really quiet.
Yeah, I must say it's a daunting subject. And because of the fact that it is so new, there is a lot of new information that it puts on the table that is very relevant for us all.
Yeah, and I always think when I'm thinking about artificial intelligence, I think of it as a tool in the workplace. I don't really think of it on any other level for me. In my everyday life, I think that's where AI, it's the only role for me that it plays. But I'm very unaware or uninformed of the places where it's utilized. But what I hear from the experts when I listen to them talk about it, they're talking about super intelligence already.
Yeah.
And
So Elzali, they won't talk about it as a tool anymore. You know, as Mustafa would say, it's a species. And AI is the extension of humankind. So we are AI. You know, where do AI get its information from?
Right, from us.
It's from us. Yeah. So a brilliant, brilliant book to read.
Hello, Walter. Walter is saying hi in the chat.
Hi, Walter. Great to have you online. When are we having a glass of wine, Walter? Yes. So if there's no other questions, I think we're not going to keep you, but a worthwhile book to read.
Yeah, did you do you have a little bit of a teaser for us on that next book, The Hidden Potential by Adam Grant?
No, I haven't. I saw it's a new book, so it's on my list
Okay.
for this coming month.
Yeah, and I know you read a book quite quickly, don't you? Thanks
Yeah.
very much. Then we're going to end today's session. Thank you for everybody joining. I noticed that there were quite a few of our Dutch friends joining today. I think most of them are alumni. I recognize a few names. Kim, I think Kim Geert Van Kessel just recently graduated, maybe this month, I'm not sure. And I see Fiston is here. So thank you for joining last year already, Kim. Okay. Thank you for joining, and join us then at the end of November when we'll talk about this next book, Hidden Potential. That'll be our last session for 2025, if you can believe it. Then we'll be away in December and we'll be back in January, if I'm correct, Bernie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining. And if you have any suggestions, please let us know.
Thank you.
Yeah, for books to discuss. Okie dokie. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you, Bernie. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.